Welcome back to another video on learning Logbook Pro. In this particular video, we're going to take a look at the Synchronize Wizard. The Synchronize Wizard is found under the File menu and is only available for the Professional and Enterprise Edition users. The Synchronize Wizard capability allows us to take two data files, a master and a clone, and we'll show you how to create the clone, to where you can take this clone and place it on a laptop or another computer for that matter, and actually enter flights on one computer, enter flights on another computer, and then at whatever time you want, either through the network or by bringing the data files back to the same system, synchronize the two data files and therefore bringing both data files up to date with information from each data file. The typical scenario is if you're going on the road with your laptop computer, you can take the clone that you can create using the Synchronize Wizard, creating a clone or a attached file, if you will, that's linked to the master data file. Place this file on your laptop computer, which has Logbook Pro installed on it as well. Go on the road, enter some flights, come back, and then you can synchronize them back into the main computer. One last scenario is you go into work, maybe you're a flight instructor, you enter a couple flights at work, you come home, you enter a couple flights, you're not sure what flights you got on which computer, doesn't matter. Let the Synchronize Wizard take care of you, and it will actually take the data that one has, pass it to the other, from the other, take the data that it has, and pass it to the master. Well, let's take a look at this process here in the Synchronize Wizard. Again, it is only available in the Professional and Enterprise editions. The very first thing we have to do, we don't have a master and clone to synchronize yet, we have to create a clone. The master logbook is whichever data file you can have the Professional edition installed on up to two computers for the use of one pilot log. Whichever computer you want, you can designate the master computer or master data file. We need to create a clone of that master data file for use on the secondary computer. So we'll do that using this wizard interface. Click on the second option, and the clone will typically be created in the same interface or the same location as the master, unless you choose So that's where the clone is going to be created, as you can see in this dialog. So we select the master that we're going to clone, and it's typically the currently in use Logbook Pro data file. And then you can see the clone is going to put in the .clone after an underscore to identify to you that this is the clone and it is not the master. So we're going to go ahead and click Next, and this is telling us this is where we're going to create a clone. We're going to create a clone of this master Logbook Pro data file. Very quick process. We'll just click the Create Clone button, and then we're now complete. Now, if we want to take this clone and we have a requirement to move it to another computer and we don't have a network to do so, we're going to need to actually compress this clone data file. And we can do it one of two ways. We can do the Export Clone option, and it will transfer it via an LBX, a compressed logbook data file, which we can then use the Sync Wizard on the other computer running the Professional Enterprise Edition and import the clone data file. The other option is to just use the File Archive Backup option within Logbook Pro and create a backup of the clone, and that will also create a compressed data file, and then you can restore that clone on your secondary computer. Alright, so let's see this in action here. Right now we do not have the clone, we have the master in use. So let's enter a couple flights. And we'll just use our trusty Cessna 152. November 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll use the standard route, and we'll put in a 1.1 so it's easy to remember. Alright, so that is our flight. We're going to go ahead and enter. So we've got a flight of 1.1 in the master. Let's now open up our clone that we created, and we're now simulating that we're on our other computer using the clone, and you'll see that this 1.1 is not in this Logbook Pro data file. It's only in the master. They're not going to synchronize until we manually tell it to synchronize. You can see the 1.1 flight is not available. Well, let's take a Cessna 172 in our clone, 1, 2, 3, 4, November Charlie. Pick a route, RHV, and we'll make this 2.2, just so we can remember what we've got for the different flights. So this has been entered. So in our master, if you remember, we've got a Cessna 152 entry of 1.1, and now in our clone we've got a Cessna 172 entry of 2.2. So now what we're simulating doing is we have brought the clone data file back to our master computer. So you'd click File, Open, or for those of you that have the recent logbooks, typically the Enterprise Edition users, we now have the master data file back open on our main computer. You see we do not have the Cessna 172 2.2. All we have is the 1.1. Well, now let's synchronize the two data files, showing how we can take the data from each and bring them back and forth so both data files will be updated. We'll run the Synchronize Wizard. We'll choose the first option, Synchronize Master and Clone Logbooks. The master logbook is the currently opened logbook. The clone, if you have a network resource, you could use through the network. You could actually find your clone data file and synchronize across the network. Here is our clone. As you can see, that is identified for us with the underscore clone. Click the next button. If you wish to back up your data files, which is important prior to doing any file operation to do a backup, we're just going to skip that step for the sake of time here. Synchronize, and that fast. Now let's take a look at our data files. We're in the master. Let's see if our Cessna 172 of 2.2 is now visible in the master data file. Look at that. There it is, synchronized in from the clone, the 1, 2, 3, 4 November Charlie for 2.2 in the Cessna 172. All right, now let's go to our clone and let's see if our Cessna 152 of 1.1 has been transferred into that data file. It sure has, and it's even placed in the proper order. November 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1.1. You can now see that both data files have been magically updated. They've updated each other. The clone passed the master, the data it had. The master passed the clone, the data it has. They're both now up to date. Now you can either delete your clone. If you don't need it anymore, you can always create a new clone off the master, or you can take this clone now and move it back to your secondary computer, unless it's already on there and you're connecting via the network, and you can continue to use both data files simultaneously, entering unique data to each program, and then bring them back together at a future date to synchronize them. So you can see the extremely powerful capability of Logbook Pro and the Synchronize Wizard, which no other logbook product has this capability to synchronize multiple computers to keep your logbook up to date. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.